Well, this is a strange room that I've come into here. What's going on? There's people laughing and there's no lights on. Hey? It's Eamonn and it's Millwall. No One Likes Us Talking podcast show. And I've got the pleasure of having 3 or 4 colleagues. Who's that over there? Is that Graham? Oh no, it's the top of a drum set. I can see that. Sorry about that. Anyhow, I've got the team here. Ted, lovely to see you.
Lovely to be here, Eamonn, as usual.
That's great, that's great. And you're, I've noticed your old prediction league is doing well, but I've not noticed that you're at the top of it.
No.
No.
That's because I keep saying that Millwall are going to win, and that's probably what's going wrong. I need to have a change of attack, I think, on that one.
Oh, I hope they come up with what you've been putting them down for pretty soon.
Change,
yeah.
Between me, I put them down to lose every week, and I'm nearly right every week. So.
Well, yeah, and you ain't top of the league either. That's strange, isn't it? Anyway, we've got that was Jules that you heard there. If you hadn't noticed it,
as normal.
Yeah, usual sort of stuff. But George, tell me, I had a contact from.
Well, you want to talk to me first, and I even introduced you about Stan.
No, I'm not going to. No, there's a special bit for Stan. I just want. I'm talking to you.
No, go on then.
I spoke to one of your mates, and they were saying.
I ain't got no mate.
You have. He certainly said he was one of your mates, and he said, ask George about Ron, and I said, who's Ron then? He said, just ask George about Ron.
Oh, well, there's the guy on Twitter that's called Ron who moans all the time, and he's just trying to be funny with you, Stan. Because as you know, Eamonn, I'm a lucky-go-happy type of chap.
Oh, God.
Or happy-go-lucky even, yeah.
One or the other.
Yeah, one way or the other around.
I think we got the wrong George in
I think so. Something's gone wrong here, absolutely. Well, I'm going to turn to Stan now. Lovely to have you back, Stan.
Well, it's a pleasure to be back, Eamonn.
That's good. And I must say, it must be sort of a week in which you're reflecting on things. It was one of your old mates from the old railway union, Bob Crow's 5th anniversary.
Don't get him on that.
No, he's got to bring that forward. He was also a big Millwall fan, don't forget.
He was.
That's right. He was, old Bob. He was a big Millwall fan. And I remember once he took down Brendan Barber, who used to be the General Secretary of the TUC, and apparently was an Evertonian.
Who are Barber?
Yeah, and he took him down to Millwall the last time we played him in the Cup when it was 1-1 and then we lost the replay. But Bob, in some respects, Bob was an acquired taste, because when you first met him sometimes you think, who's this bloke? But once you got to know him, and then once you started talking about Millwall, it was a different level anyway.
That's right.
So,
I was right behind two rows behind old Bob, and I must say, up on the wall of Block 44 at the Den, there you can see his plaque and his father's plaque up on the wall. Yeah, a good memory. Anyhow, that's all of us. We're all here. Now, what I want to do is talk about where we're at and where we're going. I mean, it's not good reading at the moment. When we was last on the show, we were 3 points from 12, and now it's no points from our last 4, or worst, 3 points from 24. What can we say about that return, guys?
Well, it ain't very good, is it? And
oddly enough, you're right.
No, and to be perfectly honest, I mean, we've got Birmingham tomorrow, and you can call me Jonah if you like, but I can't see anything other than another 3 points lost. If we go there and win, even if it's 1-0 in the last minute, fine. But frankly, I can't see us getting a win.
They looked a pretty good team, actually. I thought, although they lost, they looked pretty good, actually, Birmingham against Aston Villa. I thought they looked strong and powerful.
They was good against us. They was excellent against us. And in the boy Adams up front, they've got a striker who could quite easily slip into the Premier League, I think.
I think he will do, actually.
Yeah, but look, at the end of the day, we've hit rock bottom, haven't we, from where we've been this season, you know. It doesn't sound good reading that, but as we were saying off air, there's been a few games that could quite easily have turned around. But that's been the story of this season completely, that we've all said at different points in the season that we should have had more points than we've actually got. So I'm still optimistic with the fact that we are playing okay at times, not great, but we're doing all right, and with a little bit of luck here and there, we could have won a few games that we haven't won. But the bottom line is Birmingham's going to be tough. The rest of the games are going to be tough. Don't worry about the FA Cup quarter-final coming up. We've got 10 cup finals to play. And they need to find a bit of form, which we know that they are capable of. Let's put it that way. This is the same side, more or less now, we've got it available to us, that went on the run that so nearly got us to the playoffs last year. So we know they're not a bad side, and people will come up with that clubs have sussed us out, how we play. Well, we've actually been playing different styles this year from time to time, you know. We've had Jed Wallace move alongside Lee Gregory at times, you know. But I think if you're going to get yourself out of trouble that we're in, you've got to get a stable side together. Last year when we was on the run that we had, we could have named the team ourselves before the team was actually named on match days, you know.
Yeah.
And there's been quite a bit of chopping and changing around that Neil's done, and I think now's the time to get a settled side out there and give them a run of a few games and try and get some sort of consistency in the team that hopefully will bring a bit of consistency in the results.
You look at these results that we've got down here, these last 4 games, and I know there's a couple of 3-1s there, and Preston caught us out, obviously. But they were all tight. They're 2-1s, 3-1. But even if we take the Preston game, if we had got back in the game, if we had got it to 3-2, I think we might have made it 3-3. It was that type of game.
But this is a division, George. This is what I say. This is a division that most matches swing on 1 or 2 incidents, And I know it hasn't happened, but I think most of the games that we've lost recently, with a bit of good fortune maybe, or something happening at the right sort of time, we could have got something out of the games, but it hasn't happened, and that's down to us, and Neil comes out and says that, giving silly goals away and missing chances. That is a recipe for relegation, and they've got to put it right.
But you mentioned the Preston game, okay, and we got back to 3-1, and if we'd have got it to 3-2.
There was one that just missed the post.
But you see the problem. But you see the problem I have with all that, right? Is that if we'd have managed to have got the second goal, I can tell you now exactly what Preston would have done. What they'd have done when they'd have got hold of the ball, they'd have kept it. They'd have been passing it backwards and forwards. You see, this is what I'm saying. When we rally against a team, it's like, for example, tonight. If, for example, we're 2-0 down against Birmingham, for argument's sake, and then we come back, we say 15 minutes to go, and we get a goal. Now, Birmingham know exactly what we're going to do. They might try and hope to catch us out on the break, but if the opportunity don't arise, all they're going to do is hold the ball. They're going to pass it around. They're going to kill the game. And what I'm saying is, and when clubs do that, we just can't answer that, because all we do is lump it long all the time. And you lump it long and they just get hold of it, say thank you very much, knock it around, and that's it. That's the problem.
The Bolton game Saturday there was something that I found a little bit strange, and I'm a big Harris fan, as everybody knows, but we swap our wingers, don't we? As the game goes on, we normally swap them, but we had Wallace on the left and we had Fergie on the right. Now they're both, one's left-footed, one's right-footed. You think they'd be on the, and they didn't just stay there for a couple of minutes, change over. They were there for the majority of the first half. Now, you were really, in my opinion, you are weakening both of your wingers by having the opposite guy, on the wings. Now, we changed that around in the second half, but I thought it was a waste because, it was just like having the wrong person in the wrong peg in the wrong arm.
I mean, we all know the reason behind doing that, George. They put them like that so that they can cut back and swing a ball in rather than swinging the ball out away from the goal. And, that works. But there's got to be more flexibility than saying you go out and you stay out on that wing and you stay on that wing for the whole half. It doesn't matter how it comes about. If you've got a corner, you can sort of change them over, because more often than not, Fergie will run over and take a corner from that right hand side.
And he did that still. He still did that, in fairness to him. But I could just see that, especially with Wallace, even more so with Wallace, because he's the nippy player in our team. He goes down the right much more naturally than he would ever go down the left.
Yeah, but as I've always said, George, I mean, what I didn't understand with Saturday's selection is that he left Ben Marshall out. And the reason I say that, because it doesn't matter what wing Ben Marshall's on, he can cross with his left foot and he can cross with his right foot. And I think he's the best deliverer of a ball that we've got at the club at the moment. So I know he hasn't been the Ben Marshall of last season. He hasn't had, the sort of games that he had last season. But I do think he was playing his way back into a bit of fitness, if I'm honest. And I just thought, you're going to stick Tom Elliott down in the middle of the box, which is what the obvious thing was. get the best crosser you've got in the club on the ball out on the pitch. And I didn't understand why he was sitting on the bench, to be quite honest.
I mean, yeah, I mean, he did. I mean, Marshall, since he has been back, I mean, to be fair to him, right? I mean, I don't know how many. I don't think he played many games this season for Norwich anyway, because he'd obviously had a falling out with the mate. So he's got to get his fitness back and all the rest of it. I understand that, and I think most people will understand that. But then, and I've got nothing against Tom Elliott, but you take him off. Or he starts, right, and then after a little while, I don't know, you think, right, well, we'll have him off, and it's Morrison. I mean, it's the same old. That's what I'm saying. There's no variation.
That's a fair point. But does Dean Harris find himself in a position that I think Holloway found himself in? And, don't get me wrong.
Don't mention Holloway. God.
I was no fan of Holloway's. But I think we find ourselves, especially Neil does, I think he's got a certain amount of players, and it's like a chess piece. It don't really matter where he puts these guys. And I have to say this, I think some of them are not good enough. And so wherever he puts them doesn't make the team any great strength. It doesn't strengthen the team as such.
Well, the thing is, that Stan says there's no variation. There was. We played Derby with just Gregory up front and 3 in midfield. 4. And, we won. We wasn't pretty on the night. The match itself was pretty awful. But we stopped Derby from playing and we nicked a goal. Now, that is all you need at this time of the season when you're staring at relegation in the face. But what I was going to say is that the next game, we got the euphoria of winning that match. The next game was Preston at home, and we went back to what Neil believes is the Millwall thing, and there's people in this room that go on about it, a 4-4-2 formation. Yeah. Now, maybe he should.
You're looking at me quite right.
Yeah, but maybe he should have stuck with the winning formation that we had.
Yeah, but I think, in fairness to that, and I'd answer that, Ted, I think Neil, after coming up for that Preston game, thought, I'm playing in front of our own people here. I want to entertain them. Because that is a very restrictive system we play there.
But what I'm saying,
when
George,
you have the one forward, and I think he just wanted to.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, George, Stan is saying that there's no variation. There was a variation there.
Yeah, we played that against.
There was a variation there, and then he altered back to that 4-4-2, which naturally brings in the sort of passes that Stan's going on about.
Because you're bringing Elliott onto the pitch.
Yeah, because you're going with 2 up front. Yeah. You're going to bypass the midfield to get the ball up quick and get your midfield up there. But if you play the way that we played against Derby, you've got to go through the midfield because you've got 3 players.
Yeah, but you see, the problem I have with that is, I don't care whether we play 3-5-1 or 4-4-2 or 4-4-3. It don't matter.
That ain't your phone again, is it, Ted? You used to do that for others.
Yeah.
Right, but if we keep giving the ball, that's the problem. We keep giving the ball away, and you get penalised against teams of that quality.
Well, that's very kind of you to finish on that, Stan. I think there is a bit of that. We do give the ball away a lot. And if you ain't got the ball, you ain't going to score the goals, are you?
Very true.
Right, so where that leaves us at the moment, sadly, is with 34 points. 1 point above Rotherham. But we can talk about more and some thoughts from other people, because up next will be our guest, the one and only Gary Alexander.
Ashling here, and welcome to No One Likes Us Talking, podcast question number 11, sponsored by WePrintAnyGift.com. Before asking the question, we must congratulate Keith Lowe from Warwick on winning our last competition with the answer Old Trafford and Wembley. As a prize, Keith received a 25-year memento keyring. The question was well responded to, so thanks for entering and better luck this time. We continue to celebrate the 25 years at the Den, Zampa Road, with the following question. In the last 25 years, name 2 Millwall goalkeepers who received full international honours whilst playing for us. I'll repeat that. In the last 25 years, name 2 Millwall goalkeepers who received full international honours whilst playing for us. Please send your answer to studio@noonelikesUsTalking.com. That is all in lowercase, and No One Likes Us Talking is all one word, and talking is without a G. Write podcast question in the subject of your email. The competition will close next Monday. The winner will be announced on our social media links and will be given a shout out on the next No One Likes Us Talking show. Finally, thanks again to our sponsor, WePrintAnyGift.com.
No One Likes Us Talking is also sponsored by Gary at Tower Design and Print Limited, Dean Wilson, Independent Funeral Directors at Elton, Bromley and Lock's Bottom, Reliance South East Cleaning Services covering London, Kent and Sussex, Bexley Steel, Power Industrial Estate, Slade Green Road, Erith, and North East Millwall. You can find our sponsors' details online or at our website at noonelikesUsTalking.com. That is a talking without a G. That's noonelikesUsTalking.com. This will sound more like an advert for a lager, but our guest has probably scored the best ever goal at Wembley, and he did that in a playoff final in a Millwall shirt. It is, of course, the one and only Gary Alexander. Welcome, Gary.
Afternoon, chaps.
Hello, Gary.
Hi, girl.
Yeah, they're all going to start shouting at you now, that's how they are. What are you up to these days, Gary?
What am I up to these days? I'm getting around the grounds, watching a lot of football, watching a lot of different levels of football, different games, a little bit of coaching at the moment, just hopefully something comes up more managerial-wise in the future. Obviously, it's not easy out there at the moment. I'm just waiting for a few jobs to come up, but why there's nothing out there, you can't apply for them, so I just have to sit tight.
No, it's busy enough, isn't it? The other bit, of course, is that I've noticed you becoming a bit of a Twitter file. The Millwall under-12s are getting a bit of a coverage from you.
To be honest, that was Sunday. My boys, I've got two boys. I've got George, obviously, at Millwall, but I've got two other boys. But they've got, unfortunately, not unfortunately, they're at Charlton, to be honest.
We'll have to cut that bit, Jet. But no, well, George is doing well, isn't he?
Yeah, George is doing all right. Yeah, he's learning the trade and that, and scoring goals. So that's all he can keep doing. Working hard and see where it takes him.
Yeah, and he was on the bench against Everton. I was hoping to see him, actually.
Yeah, no, obviously, look, it's fantastic just to be involved, to be in that environment, and obviously to get on the bench in an FA Cup game against the Premier League side, it's something George will never forget.
Yeah, Gary, this is Stan here. I've heard a lot about your boy, but I've yet to see him, but it's all very positive what I'm hearing, so you must be really pleased with his progress.
Yeah, no, definitely. Look, he's been at Millwall since the age of 7, and he's worked his socks off. He's had good times, he's had bad times, He's going through a good time at the moment where he's developing nicely, and hopefully that continues. He's in the building full time now and playing a lot of football. He's scored at all levels from 7s to 23s now, so he just has to keep his feet on the ground, keep working hard, and you never know where it takes you.
No, that's right, mate. No, you're spot on. I just want to ask you something. What have you seen anything of the game from Saturday against Bolton? And if you did, what did you make of it?
To be honest, I haven't seen any of the game. I was out watching the game. Actually, I was at Reading Wigan watching that one on Saturday. But I was up at Derby, so I haven't seen nothing. I just obviously see what people say. It's not a good result, but I've got faith in Neil that he can turn this around and he can get the points that will keep us in the league to make it a successful season.
Yeah, well, I certainly hope so, Gal. I certainly hope so, mate.
Hello, Gals. Ted here.
Hello.
All right, mate. Sorry we're passing this phone round. I'm sure you can hear it as it's going round. George seems to be a bit more prolific than you, Gal. Is that right?
I wouldn't be old.
If you look back to the youth days, I think I doubled his tally. But
Oh, did you? Does he rib you about it, Gal? Does he give you a little bit of I've scored again, Dad? Like you say that? That's how it's done?
No, listen, we've always had a little bit of banter growing up, but it's always good to sort of push him a little bit and torment him, but he's doing brilliant at the moment. And as I said before, you just got to keep working hard and wait for an opportunity to come along, wherever that may be, and see what happens.
Can you see the day, Gal, when maybe the mob down the road that your other sons are playing us, and they could be playing against one another? That'd be a bit difficult for you, mate, wouldn't it?
You never know. Well, George, they're obviously their goalkeepers, the other two, so as years of George putting them in the goal in the garden and practising against them, so they're in goal at the moment.
Well, if it ever comes about, we have to make sure they keep their legs open, mate.
Someday. But yeah, no, at the end of the day, look, they were picked up by Charlton. it's kids football and they enjoy it. So as long as they enjoy it, it doesn't matter really.
Yeah, that's the main thing, mate. Main thing. But it must be an extra sort of pleasure, though, Gal, to see someone in a Millwall shirt. Your son in a Millwall shirt. That's got to be a little bit special for you. I know it's special for you pulling the shirt on. So that must make you even. I mean, you're going to be proud wherever they're playing. But to see one of them in a Millwall shirt, that must be fantastic.
Oh no, look, it's unbelievable. As I said, George joined Millwall when I was at Millwall. He was picked up playing Sunday football and picked up playing his Sunday football, and he's earned the right to be at the club, you know, and he's earned the right now to be at sort of Calmont Road training with the 23 and getting himself involved. So long may that continue. But look, as I said, I keep saying, I keep repeating myself, it's down to George now. Look, it's up to him how far he wants to go, how hard he wants to work, and who knows where it can take him. You know, you just never know in football.
Is he a big lad? You know, is he tall? I mean, you was never that big, was you, Gal, really, if I'm honest?
I'm just sort of 6 foot.
Oh, you're bigger than I was credit for. Sorry about that, mate.
Yeah, I'm just short. I'm about 5'11". I might be shrinking now, 40, but George is about 5'10", 5'11", I think. So
about the same,
a few
yeah.
years growth at the moment, so hopefully he can go 6+ and a little bit of size, and yeah, it helps.
How old is he at the moment?
He's 17.
Oh, so he's really young, isn't he? Yeah.
Well, he's not 18 till June, so
yeah, they're like weeds, aren't they? When they're like this, they grow like weeds, don't they?
No, that's it. He's hitting the gym and that, so hopefully he'll bulk out and he'll fill out soon and get that little bit of man strength, you know, and go from there. That
must be great. It must be great for you anyway that he's, you know, progressing so well. And you know, and the other boys, they're getting on the show, and we won't mention them, but I'm sure they're doing well. Good luck.
No, they're a lot younger anyway. They're like 9s and 12s, but they're 9s and 12s. But it's obviously George is in a full-time game, and as I said, look, he's in a great environment. He's got a centre forward as a manager. He's got a centre forward as a 23s manager. You know, so he probably couldn't be in a better place at this time of his football career.
You're doing some scouting for us at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm getting around the ground, you know, just watching games at all different levels and just seeing who's out there and doing a few reports and that, and I'm really enjoying that, yeah.
All right. And of course, you've been manager of 3 clubs now. Are you looking to get back in?
Yeah, no, it's something that I really enjoy. Obviously, it came to an end. Probably through no fault of my own, it just came to an end because obviously the chairman passed away and non-league know what happened. You know, and then Ashford, I come across somebody who I didn't really get on with, and that sort of fell apart. But yeah, no, it's certainly something I enjoy. I enjoy the coaching. I'm doing a little bit of coaching at the moment with Bobby Bowery and Ballers down in Birmingham. So that's nice to get back down there and do a bit of coaching. But hopefully a manager's job comes up. As I said, it's not easy. I'm not one of these to go and sit behind a dugout and wait for somebody to get sacked. No. I'll wait till it comes up and see what happens, and apply, and hopefully I'll do enough to get the job.
Let me ask you a management question here. You know, our budget is one of the lowest in the Championship. No fault of anybody's, that's just the way it is. You know, we're not one of the giants of the Championship. Can you stay in the Championship if your budget is in the bottom 3 or 4?
Yeah, I don't see why not. We've proved that before, and Neil's proven that before, that he's capable of doing that, you know, and as I said earlier, I've got all the faith in Neil to do that again, and if we do finish above that line, fingers crossed we do, that it's a successful season. Look, we're in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, we finish above the line in the Championship. I think we have to give credit to Neil for what he's doing on the budget. It's easy for people to moan and want results, but we're never going to be. Last season probably put a lot more expectation on the lads, but did we overachieve? We probably did.
Yeah, Holger on Sitton was saying that last time round when we had him on the show. He said, don't just judge a manager on one little spell, look at the bigger long term. I suppose that's what you echo, really.
No, 100%. It's 100%. As I said, look, he runs on a small budget. He hasn't got you look in the Championship, there's strikers £50,000-60,000 a week, you know, and they go for £20-30 million when they go and score 30 goals. Millwall haven't got that, so we do pretty well for what we've got. And as I said, we're in there. We're not adrift. We're in there. We're above the line at the moment, and long may that continue.
Well, you tell George that, you know. He'll need to know that pretty soon, I think, because we ain't going to be able to afford those big strikers. So wind him up for that anyway. The other side of the coin, I mean, we touched basically on that that goal that you scored in the playoff final. Does that play through your head many times?
To be honest, it's something that I can look back on now and say, yeah, I did score that goal, but at the time, as I said many times before, I would have rather won the game, but unfortunately we never.
No.
And it's great for my kids to be able to look back and see that I've done that. My youngest one wasn't even born at the time that I scored the goal, but he makes out he was, and he tells people it's me who scored that goal, you know. So it is nice at times, as well as a little bit embarrassing when he brings it up out of nothing. You know, my dad this, but it's nice, and I can look back and be remembered for scoring that goal, which is a dream for any kid to play at Wembley, let alone score a goal like that.
I mean, old Stan, who's itching to speak to you still here, was only talking before we started. He said, I didn't know what happened. He said the ground started to move at one end and people were getting up, and he said the ball was in the back of the net before I noticed it. So
it was either them, I was about to get abused or intimidation.
Oh, he's great. Here's Stan again.
Yeah. What he forgot to tell you though, guys, was I was up in the clouds, and it all seemed like a time delay. I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, all these people are going balmy. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? And then I didn't, because the further you're up in the ground, there seems a time delay. Whether it's a psychological thing or not, I don't know. But honestly, that's what happened. No, I mean that was a great day, mate. And your second goal, was it the first one, wasn't it? Which was the cross. Yeah. But we won't talk about the header. Anyway, I'm going to hand you over to Tthe.
I just got to make an admission here, Gal. You probably heard this in the ground when that ball dropped and you swung your boot at it. I was the one that said, "What the fuck is he doing?"
To be honest, because I had a perforated eardrum.
I'm glad you didn't, mate. But the next thing I knew, it was in the back of the net. So, I mean, that is a striker's instinct in this. I don't suppose you even thought about it, Gal, when the ball came to you, did you? Was it just a matter of have a go?
He came to me. I think Zach Whitbread headed it back. I tried to take it on my chest. I took it on my chin. I think it hit my chin, but it's that lovely. And it was a case of, you know what? If you don't shoot, you don't score, do you? And on another occasion, that could have flown out for a throw-in, but lucky enough, it flew in the top corner. I'm
glad you said that, saying, Gal, on a wider stretch with football these days. I sometimes wonder whether the clubs are trying to score like a perfect goal. You don't see people hitting the ball from outside the boxes like you used to. And like you say, I mean, long years ago when I was playing, that was what was rattling around in my head. If you don't shoot, you don't score. More often than not, when I did shoot, I didn't score. But is it sort of... I don't know why football's like that now. I think anywhere within 25 yards, have a dig.
No, especially with the footballs these days, they move all over the place, you know, so it's certainly worth chancing your arm, having a shot from wherever, especially as a forward, you know, as you play to score goals, so you want to be shooting. And if you have 10 shots and 3 go in, each week you're a hero, aren't you? So that's a forward should be hitting balls.
Getting back to Millwall's plight at this moment in time, what do you think, as having been a manager, when you have a little bit of a bad spell, what do you think's the correct way to go about getting yourself out of that, getting belief back into the boys? Because at the moment in time, we've been saying some of the games we've been watching, it's not quite happened for us here and there. Finish up on the losing end when it could quite easily have been win, you know. But I know they've got to pick themselves up. But what would you do in a management sense to get the boys picked up and a bit more confidence back in themselves? Because we need to get a little bit of a run like we had last year again, don't we?
Yeah, I think you just got to keep everyone happy. As you just said there was games that we played in where we've come off probably on the wrong end of the result and not deserved it. So you know you're not that far away, and as long as you're competing and we're not getting hammered. We only seem to get beat by the odd goal, don't we, in most games? And if we're that close, we're not that far away. And I'm sure at the end we can turn that around. But training obviously, Neil will be working hard and keeping the lads believing that they're quality players. They don't become bad players overnight. They'll be looking back, obviously, on the run they had last season, where we had a lot of them players and their capabilities of obviously winning football matches at championship level. So it's just about keeping them believing, and hopefully that little bit of luck turns.
Well, let's be hopeful that is the case, Gary. Just one last one. I mean, we talked about that goal, but what's your best ever memory of playing for Millwall?
Best ever memory, probably, it it's probably my last memory actually. I think it might have been one of my last games, scoring a header against Leeds late on.
Hey.
That day, and that was sort of the beginning of the end, which was...
What about the hat-trick against Brighton?
Yeah, no, obviously nice to break the duck, but it's always obviously against Leeds, you know, like it's a special because it was a full house, and my injury became worse and worse that day, but it was just nice to manage to put the ball in the back and
have a word with
beat them late on.
Gal, have a word with Lee Gregory about scoring an hat-trick against Brighton for us before Sunday.
Yeah, no, fingers crossed. I think fingers crossed he does, you know, but hopefully
That'd be good.
Get a result, and yeah, it'd be fantastic. It'd be a massive confidence boost if we could go on and win another one, you know, and
wouldn't it?
Be in a semi-final. And as I said, look, if we can finish above that line, we've had a terrific cup run, and if we can do that, it's going to be a successful season.
But not Wembley again.
Thanks, Gary. That's been fantastic to talk with you, and let's be hopeful because that's all we can be. All right.
Cheers, chaps.
Cheers now. Bye, Gal. Bye.
Cheers, mate.
Bye. You can listen to No One Likes Us Talking every Friday evening in association with Love Sport Radio and host Johnny Burrow. There is fan interaction by phone, messaging, tweeting or email. Yeah, listen to No One Likes Us Talking every Friday evening, 9 till 10.
Well, I think I said in my prediction league 2-1, but Darren's convinced me it's going to be 1-0 off of something on Lee Gregory's body that makes it go in the back of the net.
Could it be a bum, as was suggested by Jack Ransom?
I've got a feeling it's going to be one of them games, a messy battle, but I think Lee Gregory's bum's going to win it for us.
Lee Gregory's bum is going to win it.
You heard it here first.
What a way to end the first show, gents. It's been an absolute delight being in your company. That was, of course, Ted Robinson, Stan Godwin and Darren James from No One Likes Us Talking podcast. Check him out on Twitter. Check him out on Facebook. Check us out next week. It is the Millwall Fan Show on Love Sport Radio.
It's Saturday in Coldblow Lane. We've all come down to cheer.
Okay, well, welcome back. That was great listening to Gary Alexander, I'm sure you'll say. Now what we've got up next, chaps, is our question to the fans. And what we asked them was, what is your view about a new playing contract for Steve Morrison? Now, we've got a few of our old favourites in the pack. I'll read a few out. Our friend Emma, who keeps repeating to me, she's definitely more Stacey Dooley than someone else. Yeah. She's definitely more Stacey. Do you know who Stacey Dooley is? Not Stacey. No. Oh, I can't believe that.
For those rugby fans out there, so as long as she's not more like Wade Dooley.
That's right. We don't want that. Sorry, Emma. Sorry, Emma.
She's our favourite.
She is. And Emma says, despite a poor return as a frontman, and he is not the only one, there is a positive side to Morrison playing. His recent location on the right has brought goals from his assists. He also brings some form of passion to the side. I hope it's just to the side, Emma. And maybe he might be the man to drive young George Alexander over the line to first team selection. Go for it, Morrow.
So I gather from that Emma believes that it's a good idea for Morrison to sign a contract.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything to the contrary.
Well, I personally, I think I've seen some of these things on Twitter about Steve Morrison, and I think we're getting a little bit too excited, in my view, because as it goes, even if he wasn't doing coaching, right, next season, or that's what the plan is, at his age, I don't think he would be playing a lot anyway. No. I mean, I'd have been absolutely amazed if he'd have been playing a lot. Because
why would you want to sign him on a player's contract?
Well, because
quite a lot of money when you might be able to get somebody else in.
Well, because I'm just
giving you an opposite opinion.
Well, if I can
Devil's advocate.
Well, actually get a word in, I might better answer it.
He's giving you another opinion, not allowing you to speak.
Yeah. Let's hold on from Darren from the Den. See what old Darren's got to say. Still at the Den, as regular as we know it. Harris explained in advance what Morrison does, and if he believes that, he should continue with another contract. So be it. It is likely we will face a challenging season, wherever we are, that's for sure. So maybe another strong character like Morrison in the playing staff will be a big bonus. I mean, there is that side to him, isn't there?
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember somebody once saying, a former highly placed person in Millwall Football Club, and they was. I had to overhear a conversation, and they was saying that when Harris first took over and that, he said he was building a boot room, and because the moment I heard the word boot room, I knew exactly what he's referring to. Now, you know, what I can't understand, we bang on about Millwall, a special club, you've got to have a mentality or whatever. We need a manager who understands the club. And that's exactly what Morrison understands. If you've got any experience here on the coaching side, use it.
Yeah, I'm with you. We got Reg from West Sussex. Last time we had Reg on, he was from Littlehampton, but he took such a ribbing from his mates. He's now gone for Reg from West Sussex.
He's moved.
Yeah. No, he's more global in
He's
West
a bit
Sussex.
like Joe's moved.
Yeah.
You mean he's not a Littlehampton anymore?
No more, that's it. Yeah, he's a broader context. Was it Harris or Berylson? One of them said he will always have a job here at Millwall. We'll offer him a coaching job and leave the playing contract behind. Well, that's one aspect that a lot of people have been looking at. Well, I'm going to go over to our...
I totally agree with Rich, by the way.
Well, you were. No, he's from West Sussex now. Come on, George, behave. Daryl Barugink from Wisconsin, USA.
Hey.
He said, I'd say it depends upon his ambition. If he wants to play more regular minutes, and he probably ought to go somewhere else.
No,
If he loves the badge and the club, he certainly can bring leadership and be an option up front off the bench. When we are short-handed due to injuries, blah, blah, blah. Good role model for younger players. If he stays, it will be on the club's financial terms. We need to use our limited resources to improve our squad up front. Unfortunately, we don't have too much.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and that's pretty clear. Old Simon Collini, he is taking his coaching badges. Let him be part of that. Don't give him another contract. He's long past it. Roger Barbar says,
Well,
right, you're going to go on that way, can't you?
Because I think he makes a good point. I know Steve's been doing his badges for a long time. I think there could well be a role within, Steve Morrison coaching Millwall in some capacity, but I don't think it's as a footballer, and that's, so I tend to agree with Simon on that.
Yeah. Roger Barber says, to me it's obvious that Morrow will be offered a new one-year contract, and quite right too. He has a wealth of experience that is useful both on and off the pitch. These days his legs are not what they used to be.
Neither am I.
Well, I thought that, but I hadn't noticed it physically.
Yeah.
I mean, I think next season, wherever we end up, whether we're still in the Championship or we get relegated, the squad that we've got there's got to be major changes to it. There's got to be a major revamp on it, in my opinion, in various positions.
Yeah.
So
You're talking forward line.
No.
Certainly.
No. I'm talking about the squad. The whole lot needs to be revamped, in my view.
Okay. And I think that's got to be on the agenda. And I think old Roger touches on this a little bit. He says, personally, I've been saying for time, I feel he's the all-round experience and now's to stop playing up front and use that experience and passing ability and quickness of eye to take the place of Williams in midfield. Well, that's a turnaround, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't go along with that. I mean,
No.
if you carry on reading Roger's email there, Eamonn, it makes a little bit more sense further down, I think.
Yes, there's a bit more in it. In any case, how can there be a question of not keeping him when you have the likes of Elliot, who is far from Championship material and needs showing the door as soon as possible, together with McLaughlin, Shagalak, old Stan calls him, but it's Skalak, Amos and Onyedimna. Incidentally, I've supported the Lions for some 65 years and now sit in the executive seats. I decided to bring, and I'm going to leave that, I'll raise that in the grumpy old gits comment. Right. Anyhow, John O'Neill. Hi, boys. Steve Morrison has done a great job for Millwall, but it's a fact that he is no longer capable of playing at this level. He's obviously a big personality in the club, he brings influence, you employ him in whatever role they want, but playing, no chance. Not even at League One. Should we be relegated? It's pretty strong, isn't it?
Look, I think Steve Morrison could do a job in League One, certainly, if we are, let's hope we're not, but if we are in that situation. And at the end of the day, the guy is still fit enough to play. He might not be the fitness that he had from years ago, and he's going to be around in a coaching sense and whatever. He wouldn't be the first one that's got himself a playing contract while he's coaching, and he may well be an emergency. He may not play at all next year, but he'd be registered as a player. He's obviously a massive influence on this team, and his experience we know is invaluable. He is Millwall through and through, like Stan was saying, and he's the sort of person that we do want at the club. I see no problem in giving him another year's extension as a playing contract if he's still carrying on doing what he's doing now. Because I don't think next season Steve Morrison will be any worse than he is this season.
No.
I mean, he's younger than what Steve Claridge was.
Exactly, yeah.
And I didn't hear anybody complaining about Claridge when he was playing.
What people forget...
But he'll always be younger than what Steve Claridge was.
When Steve Morrison comes on, and what he does do, and you can see with his experience, I've said it time and again, when we was playing against Norwich, who were the best team in this division, by the way, he held his own against them. Every time a centre-half went to head the ball, if he couldn't head it himself, he made sure he didn't head it, which is something that Tom Elliott could learn.
Don't get me wrong here, and I'm also a great believer that, if it wasn't through Steve Morrison, we wouldn't be in the Championship at the moment. So, I'm not forgetting all of that. I just think that, when Steve's on the pitch, you make a valid point. When Steve's on the pitch, I think he's better than Elliott. It's as simple as that, even with Steve not being the Steve Morrison that we all know and, wanted him to be, even now. And a lot of people have said this and made this point, and I'm not saying it's right, but a lot of people are saying if you sign Steve Morrison as a player, you're really preparing for League One.
No, I don't agree, George. Look, if he's going to be around the club, which I think we've all sort of agreed he's going to be there in a coaching capacity in some form or the other,
at least,
then it doesn't make sense, not next season anyway, not to sign him as a player. He might not be in Neil's faults at all. Neil might have a complete change around in the summer, like Stan's asking for. We're going to have young Bradshaw come back. He's definitely going to be playing next year. There's no doubt in my eyes, wherever we are. So, but the fact is, if Steve Morrison's at the club, why only have him there as a coach when he can still play? You might as well give him a 1 year extension, and he might only get 2 or 3 games played in that. We might not have any.
I reckon that's about the strength of it. What we don't want to do is get caught short like we have this season without strikers.
Well, you can never have enough, can you?
No, you can't. Bob Dyke, Ron Haynes, Steve Dombrowski and John Morgan all say very much that the real issue is getting him in there and being a coach and getting him in with the development squad and coaching those strikers that are going to come in their many numbers, we hope, during the closed season. That's
I think that's a very good point. I can think of nobody. I know we've got a manager who's a great, centre forward, but I think, Morrison in that type of role, you wouldn't hear no argument from me at all. But as a player, if I'm really honest, I would rather that we spend Morrison's wages on an up and coming permanent young man.
But the trouble is you're taking the two things out of context in a sense. If he's going to be at the football club, and you might as well have him as a player if he's there for a player. There's lots of, you look at the back of the programme, there's lots of players throughout the season that don't actually get on the pitch, but they're being paid. You know what I mean? There's some of the players that further down the line that never get a game, but they're being paid. You might as well have Steve Morrison within your squad there if you need him next year. Let's face it, we're Millwall. We can't go out like Manchester City and people like that and go and buy whoever we want. It might take a while to find people. Hopefully they're looking at it now. We've had the season before last where we did well, but that's the thing. He could be there in the background, and if needed, he's there.
Yeah, I've got a tendency to agree with you there, Ted. No doubt about it.
There's a first name.
That makes a bonus, doesn't it? Either one way or the other. But now let's move on to Ted, because we spent a good bit of time there. But thanks, you fans. It's great to get all your emails in and texts, what have you. Keep it up every time we ask an interesting question. And we'll now move on to what I'm going to say is grumpiness epitomised. And what we're going to call is a grumpy old gits. We've moved on from grumpy old men to grumpy old gits, because gits are more contemptible, I always think. Yeah, absolutely. If you look at the Old English Dictionary, George, you'd know that. But there you go. Yeah, trust me.
I don't look at that very much.
Trust me. Anyhow, what's on your agenda, chaps? Anyone like to bring something forward?
Well, I think you've actually got one.
I've got one, yeah.
So,
Would you like me to be a grumpy old git as well, then?
Well, why change the habits of a lifetime?
Now, Stan, behave. Here's something's happening there. I've got to say, something's happening.
You think we were top of the league the way Stan's...
Well, top of the league, Stan Lee. No, seriously, Roger Barber. Actually, I'm going to read on Roger Barber's behalf. He's a guy who sits in our executive seats, and he's got an 11-year-old grandson who's bringing to the Brighton game, and he had to pay £30 for the privilege to get him a ticket in the executive seats. Now, some might say, well, if you can afford to be in the executive seats, and you can afford to pay 30 quid. But hold on, I think he adds the key point here. Is this the way to attract the future generation, especially compared to kids' prices elsewhere in the ground for that game? Any thoughts on that, chaps?
Well, kids' prices, that all them years ago, Ted managed to get the price for it.
Well, I stand, yeah. Well, I won't take the credit for all that. But I did argue at the time, and George sort of pointed out to Andy Ambler, at the end of the day with a kid, it's not up to him where he goes and sits in the stand. He goes and he doesn't pay. His parents pay him, whatever. So I just believe for children under a certain age, you should be the same price all the way around the ground. Whether you're in the executive seats or whatever, you know, we all know people that sit in the executive seats have probably got more money than everyone around. But that's not the kids. That's the parents or the grandparents that have got all the money. You know, you shouldn't be fleecing them for their kids. You know, you fleece them, or not fleece them, you charge them, fleece them. Sorry, Steve Cowan, I can hear him already shouting at me. But it's not fleece. You charge more money for certain areas, which I understand, of course you do. But you do that for the adults, not for the kids. For kids going into the football ground, it shouldn't matter whether he's in the executive lounge or whether he's sitting behind a goal where his dad's always been in that. It should be the same price all the way round the ground. And I argued that many years ago, which is where the cheap season ticket came in, and you know, I stand by that.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I think the problem you've got, and I think we're going to see more of it, right, is that people within the club now are looking upon all this sort of thing as a business, and it's an exercise. I mean, let's be very blunt about it. It's an exercise in making money. Things that, I mean, you know, I don't want to see it, but we've got this. It wouldn't surprise me if in the next couple of years we then see a change to the very thing that you're talking about.
Stan, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I've got to come in. Make money, fine, but not out of kids.
No,
you don't.
I'm not. I'm not saying. No, hang on. I'm not suggesting that I agree with it. I'm just saying that's what I think the powers that be are going to do now.
You've got a point here that Roger he's making a point that he's been a supporter for over 65 years in this football club, so he's going to know, just like us, you know, what this football club's about now. He brings his grandson, and you start saying to him, "I want 30 quid off you." That leaves a bad taste.
Oh, that's right. But I don't disagree with anything about that, and I think Roger's got a point. What I'm saying is, I think that what's being done now with these kids is going to be the sign of things to come. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just saying that's the way I think it's going to go.
Good point, Will, mate. I think, just for clarity, that might be 65 years and that applies to George, but not the rest of us, I think. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, I think he's...
Have you not?
Oh, he was, yeah.
Flaky, but nice.
Flaky, yeah. Just like a Cadbury's. I know what you mean.
Can I have a grumpiness?
You can have a superb.
The thing that got my mind coming up here today, because I knew we'd have our grumpy bit.
Yeah.
This is very topical about what you're saying, but I'm saying about people being... I'll say it again, because I'm going to be talking about somebody else now, being fleeced for money.
Yeah.
Leeds United are an absolute disgrace to the Football League for charging people £39 for an away ticket when the Premier League, I believe, I've been told, have set a limit of £30 for away fans at any ground. Leeds United have the audacity to charge us £39 to go and see their game. I think it's an absolute disgrace.
Did we not have to pay that price last year, I think?
I don't think it was as much as that.
I think it was high again because
It
was, and then we got a refund on it, didn't we?
You did.
There was a refund.
That's
was
right.
there really? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But they can't charge us more than they can't charge their people.
George,
So they must be charging their guys £39.
I don't know what it is, but listen, £39 when you've got an away ticket in the Premier League for £30.
Yeah.
It's just the only way I've been to Ipswich. I went to Ipswich this year, and it was £30 pound, which I thought was
£30 pushing it.
which I thought was a bit
football,
stumpy, but £39, and they've got history of doing it from, like you say, from last year. And I just, for the life of me, the Football League should do something about clubs like Leeds, who, let's face it, are probably one of the richest clubs, if not the richest club in the Championship. And they have the audacity to charge people £39 to go and watch a game of football with it. It's a disgrace. And they should be pulled up about it. And, it just baffles me how these people, it might have something to do, and I might be treading on some people's feet here, the fact that the guy that is the chairman of the EFL happens to be the Leeds man, Mr. Harvey, that they get away with these sort of things.
He should have to apply by the rules and the regulations. We can't, when we put people up in our North Stand, we can't charge them more than the guys who are paying in the cold blow. So, they can't
George,
do the same.
It may well be that is the most expensive ticket at Leeds. But if the Premier...
It ain't the best view, is it?
No, it ain't.
It's an awful view.
But if the Premier League can come up with a cap of £30, why can't the Championship do it?
That's just a good point. Stan, you got anything to tell us? Anything good on your horizon?
He's too happy smiling today.
Somebody, I was thinking about it the other day, and somebody mentioned it to me, and I thought, it's worth asking the question, and perhaps we might know, but, we're coming up to the part of the year now, aren't we, where normally round about this time we would be looking for, in terms of elections, whether the current fan on the board is then coming up for re-election. And because if you recall, he done a term of office, he wanted to do a 2-year term of office. Right, and it was based on when the season started and on the season rather than the calendar year. Well, we're not too far away from coming to the end of this season, right? And I'm just wondering what arrangements are being made, for this election to be held.
I've not seen anything on the boards or anyone mentioned it.
I mean, as you know, Stan, us three would know. We were on the MSC. Mickey himself wanted a 2-year term,
that's right,
as opposed to 3, and we would have all been setting our stall out by now regarding that, wouldn't we? We'd have been saying, well, there's going to be elections, this, or whenever. But no, like you, I haven't heard anything.
Well,
so I don't know.
The last MSC, the support club's meeting with the football club that I see, there was Steve Kavanagh asked the question, what do the fans want? He wanted to know what the fans wanted from the fan on the ball position. I'm afraid to say since then, I haven't seen any other minutes to say whether they went back with any answers to him, or I've certainly not been asked. I don't know. I'm not saying they should ask me, but I don't know whether they've done a fan survey anywhere or whatever. In other words, it seemed to me like the fan in the ball position may well be different, maybe something else. It might not be an election. I don't know what's going to be happening with it, but what I'm trying to say is the last thing I see about it was that Steve Kavanagh was asking the supporters club.
When were these plans? You remember?
I'm not 100% sure. This was, I think it might well have been October last year. Was the last meeting that I think, if you go on the MSC's website and you go into the minutes, I think you'll find the last minutes on there was October. But the question was being asked about the position of the fan on the board, which said to me that whatever was going to happen this year, if it was an election, it might be different to what Mickey's doing now. Mickey might know more about that than us, obviously.
But that normally in our time, always stemmed from the MSC committee, didn't it? So
I mean, but then you see, I mean, you have not even, I haven't even seen. I mean, this current MSC have been in power 18 months. I ain't even seen a new constitution yet of any description. And I looked and I think I was reading on their website. They've still not finished, and they've got to come back again. Unless I got that wrong. Well, I mean, how does the question needs to be asked? How does it come to take that long to do some constitution?
Well, I suppose the politics around it can be a difficult challenge, and and all of those things need, I suppose, airing so that people aren't walking around the den in the dark about matters that are going on. It would be, I think, it's a relevant, very relevant.
Stan's right. He's got a couple of months before the end of the season. And
come May, somebody needs to be making a decision about, whether it's an election or it carries on.
I wouldn't want to sort of see a Soviet-style Politburo, where you got people lined up and.
You wouldn't. I'm surprised at that.
No.
You and Bob would have been right keen.
He was never a Stalinist.
Is Mickey's time up this year, or has he got another?
No, this is his 2 seasons. So May obviously will fall basically outside of the football season, so that'd be slightly difficult because we finished fairly early in the May.
Well, it would be nice to know what's going on with the position. Now, I say, having read that Steve Kavanagh asked for the thing, and I don't know whether they've done anything about it, but it would be nice to know what's going on.
Could I just make a point? I noticed on our someone's asked here, what's happening to Dockers Day. Can I just fill you in on a little bit?
Well, it'd be interesting to know because I don't think anyone does know. But there you go. I'll keep reading about it.
Everybody knows that Chris Bethel does Dockers Day and does a marvellous job each year. Because of our cup runs, I'm afraid they're treading on Chris's toes here because we're having games put back when he was about to have the Dockers Day. I think he's had 2 goes, or he's going to have 2 goes, and they're both trod on his toes. So it just don't look like it's going to happen this year. What he's going to try and do, and whether he can pull it off or not, is try to have an early Dockers Day next season to try and counteract it. So, best will in the world. I mean, it's not Chris's fault, but he's tried and. The club always help with that, so it's just a matter of circumstances, I think.
We've still got a few games to go. Can't we get to the last game of the season? That's a Saturday, isn't it?
Well, there is Bristol City, yeah.
Well, Chris will be on.
But it'd be the challenge, isn't it? I mean, there's lots going on, and it's funny. Yesterday, I was only contacted by Millwall about having executive boxes, and I realised they've now filled all the boxes for the West Brom game. But of course, if we have a good result
we'll be
on Sunday, we'll be on the semi-finals that day.
Well, maybe we can have Dockers Day on the cup final.
That's it. That's the answer, isn't it? That's the answer.
There you go, Chris. You heard it here first.
Yeah, that's where it's going to happen. We're just going to take a short break, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Ashling here, and welcome to No One Likes Us Talking, podcast question number 11, sponsored by WePrintAnyGift.com. Before asking a question, we must congratulate Keith Lowe from Warwick on winning our last competition with the answer Old Trafford and Wembley. As a prize, Keith received a 25-year memento keyring. The question was well responded to, so thanks for entering and better luck this time. We continue to celebrate the 25 years at the Den, Zampa Road, with the following question. In the last 25 years, name 2 Millwall goalkeepers who received full international honours whilst playing for us. I'll repeat that. In the last 25 years, name 2 Millwall goalkeepers who received full international honours whilst playing for us. Please send your answer to studio@noOneLikesUsTalking.com. That is all in lowercase, and No One Likes Us Talking is all one word, and talking is without a G. Write podcast question in the subject of your email. The competition will close next Monday. The winner will be announced on our social media links and will be given a shout out on the next No One Likes Us Talking show. Finally, thanks again to our sponsor, WePrintAnyGift.com.
No One Likes Us Talking is also sponsored by Gary at Tower Design and Print Limited, Dean Wilson, Independent Funeral Directors at Elton, Bromley and Lock's Bottom, Reliance South East Cleaning Services covering London, Kent and Sussex, Bexley Steel, Power Industrial Estate, Slade Green Road, Erith, and North East Millwall. You can find our sponsors' details online or at our website at noOneLikesUsTalking.com. That is a talking without a G. That's noOneLikesUsTalking.com. welcome back. I'm sure you've heard from Ashlyn there, who's told you all about our podcast question. But let's see what's coming up on the next 4. It's Birmingham tonight. What do we reckon? Who? You've got your days mixed up again as usual.
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah.
What day is it, Steve?
Hey, what day is it?
Don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I'll jump in here, seeing Stan don't know what day of the week it is.
True.
I think this is going to be a very hard game, actually, because I watched the game on Sunday. Villa, I think Villa are a very good team, actually, and I thought Birmingham more than matched them. I thought they were strong, powerful, with the boy up front. I think his name's Adams. Is it?
Shay Adams, yeah.
Yeah, I thought he looked real class, actually. And I fear for us a bit, if I'm honest.
Down at the Den, they was a strong physical side. They was, you know, I mean, we're classed as a physical side, well, they was more physical than us.
They was.
Put it that way. So, but the only thing is that there's different types of games. When you're playing away from home, it's a little bit different than when you're at home. They was easy to sit back and be physical and strong and then hit us on the break, and, you know, in some ways we've got to play a similar sort of game that they played to us, you know, let them come at us and perhaps hit them on the break. The concern is if you don't play the likes of Tom Elliott, you're lacking in the physicality side of things, like, you know. So what I'm saying, if he wants to go back to the Derby formation where you've got Lee Gregory up in front, it leaves you a little bit vulnerable for things like corners and whatever, without whether it's Tom Elliott or whether it's Steve Morrison, you know, that if you've not got that centre forward type, it leaves you a little bit vulnerable. So maybe it might be a way of you've got to play either Tom or Steve because of the side that we're playing.
And then we got Leeds after that, haven't we?
Well, how about that game against Brighton, George?
Oh yeah.
Do you reckon that might be useful to talk about?
I tell you, in relationship to Birmingham, the thing that does sort of stick in my mind, and I find it rather strange. I mean, it seems to be common knowledge, right, that Birmingham are going to be facing a points deduction, and yet apparently, from what I've read, this decision should have been made public 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's not. And you have to wonder why. And I just wonder.
Yeah, they was in trouble financially.
Yeah, and they did.
No, they were due to have a big fine or points deduction.
Yeah,
nobody's heard of it.
No, that's what I'm saying. So, you know, I wonder.
I think, Stan, I read about that. I think they're querying all that.
There's probably some sort of
I mean,
appeal.
what are you going to do? Wait at the end of the season and say, you know, when they're safe?
They'll take 10 points off them for the next season, because that's been done before.
These things are never sorted out quickly, and there's lots of proving.
Yeah, but this has been going on.
Yeah, I mean, because
there is,
because the trouble is with these sorts of things, when they delay like they do, you know, people, especially if you're sort of on the verge of relegation and whatever, people are saying, well, hang on a minute. You know, that if this could have all been different if this result would have come out. Now, you know.
Hell or Hades, that's all you can ever think of, isn't it?
Right, that's true.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, they've got Sunday hanging over them as well, which I don't think is going to be a fine of some sort.
Anyhow, back to our famous opponents for Sunday on St Patrick's Day. It's Brighton. The Seagulls. Do you remember?
Winnable game.
Winnable game?
Winnable game because, one, it's at home. Because my view is when you're in the FA Cup, all you can ever hope for is a home draw, right? So, which we've now got. And because it has to be said, right, is that whatever the score is after 90 minutes, if it's level, there's no replays. It's going to go to extra time, and then if need be penalties. So to some extent, you know, we have one or two aces. But I have to say, Brighton are a good side. Their manager is top class in my view. But I'd be interested to see what team he puts out, because he might take the view, Chris Hughton, that, well, I'm not quite secure in the Premier League yet, and he might put out a weakened team. Now, that doesn't mean to say he's going to play a youth team.
No.
But they played Palace, didn't they? Was it Saturday or Sunday?
That's right. Surprising result.
So they look pretty good, actually.
Yeah. Now, all I'm just saying, but apart from, because in saying that, we've got to be on the ball. We've got the moment their players get the ball, we've got to start closing them down.
You notice that George is watching Palace these days as well.
Yeah, but the only thing that worries me, because when they get the ball, But they are. But again, you see, they're a side that you if you keep giving them the ball, you're going to end up paying a price.
Well, you will do it if you give it to Knockout, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, this is so typical Millwall fans sitting around this table. We've all given ourselves no chance whatsoever against Birmingham away. I mean, Brighton at home, we're going to beat them.
No, I said it's beatable. They're beatable.
Yeah, but Stan, look, you keep saying about they keep the ball and all that sort of... Everton keep the ball.
Yeah.
We still beat them.
Yeah.
You know,
right,
these sides can keep the ball. We haven't got... I know I've said this to you before now. You've got to have the players that can keep the ball to start with. We can only play one way, and that is to get in their faces, upset them, play the game, as Neil says, the Millwall way, if we're going to have any chance of beating Brighton.
Yeah.
If we sit back and just let them play...
No, that's right.
But I'm sure we won't do that. I'm sure we'll be up for it.
There's a few more games ahead of us, and we're just going to look at the rest of those. And really, I just want a sort of short view on how we're going to do at Elland Road. How are we going to do against West Brom?
Win.
Keep
going.
Oh, Joe, Ted, you'd always say, I mean, I can predict this already, straight out of Ted's prediction league. Yeah, win, and how many we're going to put past QPR?
If I'm honest,
Yeah.
if I'm really honest, I do fancy us at Leeds, because there'll be nothing on us at all. It's the sort of game that we do rise ourselves for. And I've not been ranting and raving about Leeds like everybody else seems to have done. I still think they're a little bit vulnerable.
Yeah.
West Brom at home worries me, because they've now got a new manager coming in, and I think they may well... I think they've got the best players, the best squad in a division, and I think they may well be pushing for like the top two. So I think that's a difficult one. I see no reason why we can't turn QPR over at home, if I'm honest. Although QPR,
they're up and down, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a little bit of a bogey side of us in recent years.
A bit like Tower Bridge.
Yeah.
I think the importance for us is trying to win these home games.
Yeah, of course.
These home
Listen,
games could turn out to save our boat.
I think we've got 10 games, haven't we? I think 5 at home, 5 away. If we win the 5 home games, we stay up.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. I don't think you need much more than 5 wins. I mean, you might need less. Yeah. But I think 5 wins will guarantee you staying up.
Yeah.
10.
I reckon you're right. But that last game against Bristol City, I think, is going to be the one. Stan, come on, your view on those last 3 that we got this year.
Well, I mean, Lee, I tend to agree with Ted in relationship to Leeds, because it's Leeds and we get up for that sort of game, don't we? West Brom, good side. We don't know the manager, or I initially know the new managers. I don't know, but they're certainly in the running for a playoff position. Madness to sack their manager, in my view. Absolute madness. And we should beat QPR. We should have beaten last time, but so there's no. But then. Ted's saying 5 wins at home and whatever. Well, fine.
Let's have it.
Let's have it.
Bring it on.
That's all we need.
Yeah. Come on, George. What about your thoughts on those 3?
Well,
We ain't going to win any of them.
I think the home games are winnable. I think the Leeds one is a hard one. I'll be delighted if we get anything. Unlike Ted, I think Leeds are the real McCoy this year.
Okay.
I'm sorry to say that.
They're the business. Well, that's the thoughts from the team. We'll see how they play out. And don't forget, watch out on Ted's Prediction League to see what he puts down as our scores against that lot.
Against Millwall. Bless his heart.
Please do not put any money on what I'll say.
You ain't got a tip for Cheltenham, have you? Ted?
Don't bet.
Don't bet. Okay, then. That sounds pretty good to me. Anyhow, there's a few mentions we'd like to bring out. And I just want to say we've got a new partnership with Love Sport Radio, and that comes out that we have a live show there between 9 and 10 every Friday night. Now, make sure you can look out and tweet, email, even phone into the show. You're all welcome, but watch out on our social media sites to see what's going on. So that's a mention from my behalf.
Yeah, I mean, we had the show last week, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I have to say the presenter of the show, he was excellent in my view. Excellent.
I know you've been having some interest with young Isla over at West Ham, Stan.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, it's good to hear, and I was, that it would appear for the time being that she's in remission.
Yeah.
And when that news come through, what was it, 11, 12 days ago? I mean, that was wonderful news. Yeah. And let's hope now that's, although she's in remission now, there's still more treatment ahead. So hopefully that will all them signs will be positive, and and hopefully she'll make a full recovery. And
let's keep our fingers crossed.
Oh, absolutely,
and
absolutely.
If you can post on a Twitter site, the family would appreciate that. That's really good. How about Elise?
Elise, yeah. I mean, what I would say is that she's going to be mascot on Sunday, and I'd love everybody to be in their seats by the time the team comes out with little Elise there, and give her the sort of round of applause that she deserves. That's such a brave little girl, and making great strides at this moment. So it's a fantastic thing that I believe that I don't know whether it's through the supporters club or whether it was Millwall Football Club themselves, but they've made her the mascot for this game, which is fantastic. Seeing it's on the telly and all the exposure that she will get, and
that's great.
Let's give credit where credit's due, and she's a brave little girl, and it'd be wonderful if everyone could actually give her the round of applause.
We knock the club sometimes, when we think they're doing things wrong, but I think in the same breath we should pat them on the back when they do things well.
Absolutely. And that community day, I've got to say, was a tremendous do. It's just a shame that the media never gave one bit of coverage to it.
No, they never got the coverage that it deserved. As George quite rightly said, we knock our club as we're fans, we're entitled to. I'm sorry about that, but when things are done right, and it's about time the media of this world come down to Millwall and see some of the good things that have been going on there, instead of concentrating on one or two little flashpoints that gets broadcast all over the world and makes us look like something that we're not at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's always the same, isn't it? When it comes to Millwall and the media, the first casualty is the truth. I mean, that's the truth. That's that's what happens with the old dogs of war.
Well, absolutely, and our superb Witchfinder General, who haunts out and hinds out all the media dogs of war, that's absolutely you, Stan. No doubt about it. Just a final touch then is, don't forget the Lionesses, not had a good season this year. They're about 5 points adrift of Crystal Palace at the bottom of the league that they're in. Don't forget your season ticket holder. You can go down to Prince's Park at Dartford and they'll let you in for free. It's a bit of a bonus. And they're up against next, when we're playing Leeds, I think they're playing Villa the next day. So have a trip down to Dartford and roar the Lionesses on. So, for the remainder of the season and our quarter-finals against Brighton, let's be hopeful. We'll be back in a podcast in mid-April, and you can catch us live on the old Love Sport Radio with Johnny Burrow each Friday. So, I'm going to say it's bye-bye for Eamonn.
Ta-da from Stan.
Good night from me.
And it's good night from you.
And they look at each other as if they're a pair of bloody bookheads, don't they? Bye for now.